Train leaving on track 7 for Happyville, Smilesburg, Dreamland, Giggletown, and Fun City. Board, full aboard.
This train's a happy train indeed. This train's a happy train indeed. This train's a happy train, we got no room for hate or greed. This train's a happy train indeed. We're going where the sun is shining, this train. We're going where the sun is shining, this train. We're going where the sun is shining, no room for them that's always whining. Going where the sun is shining, this train. This train don't care no lazy lingers. This train don't care no lazy lingers. Carries no lazy lingers, dirty faces or sticky fingers. This train don't care no lazy lingers. Train don't care no snakes or frogs. This train don't care no snakes or frogs. Carries no snakes or frogs, just pussycats and puppy dogs. This train don't care no snakes and frogs. This train's a happy train indeed. This train's a happy train indeed. This train's a happy train, we got no room for hate or greed. This train's a happy train indeed. A railroad gang in thy way, they started out one day to meet a gang of pushing east from California. They had to fight the Indians across the Great Divide. They worked with pick and shovel and a rifle by their side. That was the story that wound up in Promontory, Utah. Well, the Union Pacific, they did something terrific when they drove that golden spike. And the wheels were rolling, and the bells were a-tolling when they drove that golden spike. Before they'd see a city where there stood a lonely shack, they knew they'd have to pay a life for every mile of track. They worked across the icy peaks and down through burning sand. They joined the east and west with frozen feet and blistered hands. What gallant glory when they met in Promontory, Utah. Well, the Union Pacific, they did something terrific when they drove that golden spike. And the wheels were rolling, and the bells were a-tolling when they drove that golden spike. Ah! As I'm riding here in this beautiful Union Pacific parlor car, enjoying the scenery, I just can't help thinking that I'm traveling the old Oregon Trail. That name, you know, was later changed to the Overland Trail. What a difference then and now. Our hardy pioneers encountered many hardships when they blazed this trail, but they sure made it. At that time, thousands of buffalo as well as hostile Indians roamed these plains, and the winters were pretty rough too. Then came the gold seekers, and then the Mormons, a dedicated group of wonderful people seeking religious freedom. And of course, the famous Pony Express. Yep, all that happened right where I'm riding now. I've made this trip so many times that I know exactly when a freight train is due to pass us. And there's one due any minute now. Here she comes now, right on time. Boy, she's sure loaded down with farm equipment. Brand new automobiles. Stock cars. There's the caboose. And that will mark the end of the freight train. Yes, sirree. I'm on my way up to Pendleton, Oregon, to attend their famous annual festival, known as the Pendleton Roundup. But first, I just have to make that trip to Yellowstone National Park to see Old Faithful again. We change at Pocatello, Idaho, for Yellowstone. It's a short run, and well worth the time, because you will never find a more beautiful spot in the whole wide world. Gee, boys and girls, I'd like to tell you all about the interesting places along this route, but there is so much to see and tell that it would take days, and we're doing Pocatello soon. We'll tell you something about Yellowstone a little later on. Goodbye for now, and hope to see you real soon. So long, kids.
Oh, they gave him his orders at Monroe, Virginia, saying, Steve, you're away behind time. This is not 38, but she's old 97. You must put her into center on time. Fireman said, shovel on a little more coal. And when we cross that White Oak Mountain, you can watch old 97 roll. It's a mighty rough road from Lynchburg to Danville, and a line of a 3-mile grade. Well, it was on that grade that he lost his average. You could see what a jump he made. Down the grade, making 90 miles an hour, when his whistle began to whine. Well, they almost had a wreck with that old 97, but they got her into center on time. But they got her into center on time. wide Pacific to the broad Atlantic shore. From the great old flowing mountains to Belle Harbor by the Moor. She's a mighty tall and handsome and oh, quite well by all. She's a combination of the Wabash cannonball. Oh, listen to the jingle and the rumble and the roar as she glides along the woodland to the hills and by the shore. Hear the mighty rush of the engine, hear the lonesome whole slow, while rattling to the jungles on the Wabash cannonball. Your eastern states are dandies, so all the people say. From New York to St. Louis, Chicago by the way, to the streams in Minnesota where the rippling waters flow. No changes can be taken on the Wabash cannonball. Oh, listen to the jingle and the rumble and the roar as she glides along the woodland to the hills and by the shore. Hear the mighty rush of the engine, hear the lonesome hobo squall, while rattling through the jungles on the Wabash cannonball. Now she came down from Birmingham one cold December day. As she rolled into the station, you could hear all the people say, "Now there's a gal from Tennessee, she's long, she is tall." She came down from Birmingham on the Wabash cannonball. Oh, listen to the jingle and the rumble and the roar as she glides along the woodland to the hills and by the shore. Hear the mighty rush of the engine, hear the lonesome hobo squall, while rattling through the jungles on the Wabash cannonball. And hear the Alpha Dildo, may his name forever stand, may always be remembered throughout this promised land. His earthly race is over as the curtains round him fall. We'll carry him back to Dixie on the Wabash cannonball. Oh, listen to the jingle and the rumble and the roar as she glides along the woodland to the hills and by the shore. Hear the mighty rush of the engine, hear the lonesome hobo squall, while rattling through the jungles on the Wabash cannonball.
We're just about ready to leave Pocatello, Idaho, for a most scenic trip to the famous Yellowstone National Park. I sure would love to spend more time in the beautiful state of Idaho, because this is truly a sportsman's paradise. But we'll be making Sun Valley on our way back, and at that time we'll roam around Idaho for a while. This part of our country is truly one of the Lord's greatest artistic achievements. We're getting ready to pull out now. As we're traveling along, I'd like to tell you a few things about Yellowstone National Park. First, it is the largest and most famous of all our national parks. There are more geysers here than in all the rest of the world. There's boiling hot springs and cold springs, a mud volcano, a cliff of glass, petrified forests, lakes and rivers, and boy, what fishing here. And believe it or not, even a mountain that roars. Yellowstone is also the greatest of all wild animal sanctuaries. You'll see deer, herds of buffalo, elk, bear, moose, and even a mountain sheep. And there's so much more to see here. We're pulling into the station now, and I'm in for one good swell time. Gee, boys and girls, I sure wish that you were all here with me. head to holler to the fireman, "Hey, Joe, look on the track ahead. I don't see nothing. I'm afraid there will be a great disaster. Help! We'll all be killed and how?" For out there strolling down the railroad track is a great big old red cow. What will I do? You'd better blow the whistle. Woo-woo! Then what? You'd better ring the bell. Set the air. Say a prayer. Amen. Blow the whistle, ring the bell. Well, the SP train was speeding through the darkness, and their hearts stood still with great fear. For they thought of all the homes they left behind them, and the ones they loved so dear. Oh, blow the old whistle, yell a fireman, or ring the bell, I don't care which. For if that cow catcher doesn't catch that cow, we'll all land in the ditch. What will I do? You'd better blow the whistle. Then what? You'd better ring the bell. Set the air. Say a prayer. Amen. Blow the whistle, ring the bell. Well, there was no train wreck on that fatal evening. The train got stopped somehow, and the trusty old brakeman with his lantern came and drove away the cow, drive more to my house. And now the people ride in safety, hot dog, as the scenery rolls by. For now and then the carmen are contented, and you'll never hear them cry. Oh, what'll I do? You'd better blow the whistle. Then what? You'd better ring the bell. Set the air. Say a prayer. Amen. Blow the whistle, ring the bell. Hear that whistle blowing, hear that whistle whine. You can hear those drivers rolling, and it sure sounds mighty fine. On that Homesick Special, good old 99. See that smoke of horror coming from her stack. See that steam swirl trailing down the track. It's that Homesick Special, clickety, 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 clack. Hear them wheels a clicking, hear that engine moan, hear them big wheels grind. She's taking me back home. On that Homesick Special, she's taking me back home. When the conductor hollers tickets, it will cut me like a knife, 'cause that's the first train ticket I ever paid for in my life. On that Homesick Special, taking me back home. This time I'll ride the cushions, no blinds or rods for me. I'll look just like a home guard, and the bulls won't bother me. On that Homesick Special, the bulls won't bother me. No more sipping coffee from a rusty can. I'll eat my chow in a diamond car like a real cool fancy Dan. On that Homesick Special, like a real cool fancy Dan. I'll be sure to use my napkin and place it on my knees. I'll use a fork instead of a knife to mash those turkey peas. On that Homesick Special, I'll mash
And that's the hardest thing I ever did in my whole life, to buy a ticket home. This boy has learned his lesson, and nevermore will roam on that homesick special, taking me back home. On that homesick special, taking me back home.
Hi there, boys and girls. This is Engineer Joe McConkey up here in the cab. I've been driving this old freight train for many hours, hauling some pretty valuable cargo to the folks out west. We've been chugging along for quite a spell, and my trusty old horse here, the iron horse that is just a hankering for a slug of that good old H2O. H2O is water, of course, in case some of you little engineers didn't know that. You know, iron horses get thirsty too, just like we humans do. Hi there, Jim.
Howdy, Joe. How's it going?
Oh, just fine, Jim. That's old Jim McGinnis. He's been tending this old water tower for nigh on to, 20 years. That's about as long as I've known old Jim. His pappy was a railroad man, too, and a mighty good one. Well, I guess she's just about full up now, so I'll have to get going. I got a lot of miles to cover, and we must be on time, so I'll have to say goodbye for now. I'll be seeing you kids on my next trip around, so until then, so long, little engineers, and be real good little engineers for your mom and dads now, okay? So long now. Bye. Come all you neighbors, for I want you to hear the story of a mighty brave engineer. Now, Casey Jones was this rounder's name on a big eight-wheeler of mighty fame. Call Casey about 4:30. He kissed his wife at the station door, climbed to the cab with his orders in his hand. He says, I gotta cover a lot of miles of land. Casey Jones mounted to the cabin. Casey Jones, orders in his hand. Casey Jones mounted to the cabin, 'cause that is the life of a railroad man. Out of the south yard on the fly, heard the fireman say, you got a white eye. Well, a switchman knew by the engine's moan that the man at the throttle was Casey Jones. The rain was a-comin' down for more than a week. The railroad track was like the bed of a creek. They slowed her down to a 30-mile gait, and the southbound mail was 8 hours late. Casey Jones mounted to the cabin. Casey Jones, orders in his hand. Casey Jones mounted to the cabin, 'cause that is the life of a railroad man. Farmer says, Casey, you're running too fast. You run the blackboard the last station you passed. Casey says, I believe we'll make it though, for she steams a lot better than ever I know. Casey says, "Farmin', don't you fret. Keep a knocking at the fire door. Don't give up yet. I'm a-gonna run her till she leaves the rail, but I'll make it on time with a southbound mail." Casey Jones mounted to the cabin. Casey Jones, orders in his hand. Casey Jones mounted to the cabin. That is the life of a railroad man. Casey Jones, by gosh, he was right. He stuck to his duty day and night. They loved his whistle and his ring number 3, and they came into Memphis on the old IC. Headaches and heartaches and all kinds of pain, they ain't apart from a railroad train. Stories of brave men, noble and grand, belong to the life of a railroad man. Casey Jones mounted to the cabin. Casey Jones, orders in his hand. Casey Jones mounted to the cabin, 'cause that is the life of a railroad man. Railroad man. Casey Jones was a railroad man. Railroad man. Railroad man. Railroad man.
I've been working on the railroad all the livelong day. I've been working on the railroad just to pass the time away. Can't you hear the whistle blowing? Rise up so early in the morn. Can't you hear the captain shouting? Dinah, blow your horn. Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow your horn, your horn? Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow? Dinah, won't you blow your horn? Someone's in the kitchen with Dinah. Someone's in the kitchen, I know. Ho, ho, ho. Someone's in the kitchen with Dinah. Strumming on the old banjo.
Well, here we are at Cheyenne, Wyoming, and we're getting up steam to make the longest grade on our line. Cheyenne is 6,060 feet elevation, and we have to climb Old Sherman Hill, which is 8,013 feet above sea level. We've got a pretty big load of freight to haul, so we have to put on 2 engines. Even after we get over the big hump, we start going downhill, but then we have to climb to the peak of the Continental Divide, which is, 29 miles west of Rawlins. And that's 7,107 feet above sea level. Well, as we're waiting for the engines to get up steam, I'll tell you, boys and girls, about the Continental Divide. That is the real heart of the Rockies, kids. And when it rains, the water that falls on the east side of the divide flows into the Atlantic Ocean, and the water that falls on the west side flows to the Pacific Ocean. Gee, I wish I had more time to tell you about this interesting territory, but we're all hooked up and ready to roll, and we got a big job ahead of us, so you'll have to excuse me for now, okay?